To episode 5 of the Melbourne Retro Gaming Podcast. I'm joined with Papa.
How's it going, Scott?
It's going well, and that's right, I am Scott. So let's get right down to it. This week we're going to discuss the recent release of Mario Kart 64, which is available on the Wii Shop as of last week and was available from the 6th of January in Japan. Excuse me. Anyway, so obviously we both grew up playing a great deal of this game, and I'm sure we both loved it. And so what does this really mean for the future of online downloads for old games, and also what does it mean for the current Mario Kart game which is available on Wii U? Does it mean that there's going to be like a drop-off in play of that, or do you think that it's going to be people are going to be focusing on Mario 64?
I think it'll be a bit varied. A lot of people, including myself, love the Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U.
Yeah.
But going back as a nostalgia type of thing, or even for the kids who haven't actually played the old one.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the original, but it's the second one in the series, and it was revolutionary, pretty much.
Yeah, you're right there. It did bring in a lot of... Well, obviously it came with a brand new console, the Nintendo 64, so it did a lot of things that the first game didn't do.
Yeah.
But it also sort of stayed true to the original game and, carried on, made a good thing better, I believe. But, you know what, I haven't actually looked into the game too much. Do you know if there's any online support for it, or if there's anything like that? Is it just a straight port of the game, or is there anything...
I haven't looked too much into it either, but I believe it'd be a straight port.
Yeah.
Just much like other Wii Virtual Shop releases as well.
Yeah, so it's just straight, yeah. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And like you said just before, that kids will get the chance now to go back and experience that game. Maybe who don't have Nintendo 64 or have heard older siblings or even parents talking about it.
Yeah.
It'd be a great experience for them to go back, because I know that the Mario Kart on Super Nintendo has been available for some time on the shop.
Yeah.
So now you've got those two. I wonder if the Wii version is going to come out, say, in another couple of years' time, or even on the
Double Dash.
Double Dash. That's right. Sorry, I've missed one. But then we might be looking at maybe the next Nintendo console having all of those available plus 8.
Yeah.
Sort of like the PS4 having, brand new games available online just from day one.
Like you've mentioned in a previous episode, you downloaded Donkey Kong Country 2 just because it's convenient just to load up on your Wii U.
Yep.
And I believe that's the same sort of factor. Like us, we still have Mario Kart 64, but to go back and instead of maybe plugging in the Nintendo 64, going through, we've already got the Wii U set up, we jump into the menu and there it is right there, ready to go.
Yeah, and obviously being able to switch out from playing a game into another game with ease is, it's appealing to anyone. I mean, there are those who do like going back and setting up the consoles, but not everyone, like you said, has a 64 set up ready to go.
Exactly.
So, for me personally, I'd love to play it on the 64, but I'd have no problem at all playing on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Probably will end up downloading it because, the retail around $10, $12 maybe. So, and then you've got sales and the ability to get gift cards for your birthday, etc. So, look at it's a good thing that they're doing this with that sort of game, because I know when Mario Kart 8 came out, it drew a lot of comparisons to the 64 version. I know that everyone was saying they wanted the battle mode of Mario Kart 8 to be more like the Mario 64 version.
Yep.
Because it was more just a simulated race where you're battling like that. But having said that, is there any other games that you'd like to see on the Wii U store which haven't been ported yet? I mean, I'm not too familiar with what's on the store. I don't really know every title, but I know there is quite a few on there. Sort of obscure games like Earthbound, some Game Boy Advance games, Super Nintendo games, Zelda, etc., etc. But is there anything you personally like to see on there which is a Nintendo game?
From what I can remember, this was a couple of months ago, I'm not sure if they've actually added it, but there was Super Nintendo Mega Man, I believe, X2. I wanted to play that, and I can't remember if it was or wasn't on there.
Yeah.
But they were missing a lot of Super Nintendo titles that either cost too much if you're looking at just buying the cart these days. And it's something that you just want to go back and play again without spending a fortune, really.
Well, I know that I read about them putting the original Mega Man collection on there. People who do speed runs and etc. Just a compilation of all the original Famicom Nintendo games.
Yep.
But I haven't been able to find it. I think maybe it was outside of Australia, but I'm not really sure. But that would be something I'd definitely download, because to play all those games together is awesome. Like on the Nintendo DS, there's a Mega Man Zero, I think it is, and it's got all the games from that franchise all together. So that's really cool. And to have something like that available in the store, you're not only just buying one game, you're getting like 4 other games. So, and it usually is a pretty good price. So that's something, I'd like to see that on there, which would be awesome.
And I believe, like in America, they got Mega Man 8 or 9, I believe it was, and that was a WiiWare release, and I don't believe we saw it over here in Australia, and that's something that we're missing out on.
Yeah, I think we're sort of getting a bit, not to say discriminated against, but we just don't get the luxury of having a large library of games available to us like other countries do, which is a shame, because we enjoy the games just as much as anyone else, and then we have to work harder and spend more money to find the games and play them. That's why you see a lot of people downloading emulators and stuff like that. But I mean, if they could get it on the Wii U store, they probably would. Yeah, it's just that they can't. So whether that's just it's too expensive or there's a licensing issue, I'm not really sure. But it'd be good if they really started to put a lot more into it and say, okay, we're going to do our best to get you everything we still own or have the rights to. We're going to put it on the store. Yeah, because I remember when I first started with the Wii U, they had, I think it was Brain Training or something like that, a DS game, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh man, I hope they put more DS games on this, because it's perfect. You hold the tablet up long runs, and you play a DS game. Like, why couldn't they do that with a lot more games? Yeah. And, that would print money. Yeah. Sort of like a Mario Sunshine 2 or something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, so that was probably the biggest news in terms of retro gaming being brought to the forefront of
new generation as well.
Gaming. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So, let's talk a little bit about strategy guides. Now, I know over the internet, and there's a few people on YouTube who collect strategy guides to the point where they have the guide for a game they wouldn't own. But recently I've started collecting a few strategy guides just mainly for the Zelda series, because I find the games
a bit difficult.
A bit difficult, and also they have, you can do the linear story, or you can go and do a heap of other stuff like collect card pieces, etc. And I've always been really interested in doing that. So I got the Wind Waker 1, Majora's Mask, etc. I've beaten Wind Waker. I haven't beaten Majora's Mask, but now that I've got the strategy guides, it's fun to just look through and look at the artwork and look at the maps and the dungeons and stuff like that. Do you think that with collecting strategy guides, I know it's really a personal interest thing, but do you think that for especially some of the obscure ones, and also the age of the game, the values in the guides can actually hold their value?
Yeah, I reckon they can.
Yeah.
Especially if well, to be honest, when do you really see these strategy guides anymore?
Yeah, I know it.
Not too often.
JB Hi-Fi EV Games will have like a rack of, say, the newest, like a guide for, say, Destiny, Call of Duty, and Watch Dogs, but I don't know why you need a guide for Call of Duty, to be honest.
No, exactly.
Unless you need trouble navigating the menu screen. But like, I bought recently one for Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, which you picked up at the garage sale last week.
It was a little bit expensive, $25, but that is something that you'll never find.
No.
You might be able to get it off the internet if you go to a bit of trouble looking for it, but the $25 for a game that I still haven't completed, and it was in perfect condition.
Yeah, it was great condition, and with Donkey Kong 64, there was so much to the game. Like, you had to get the bananas, you had to get 2 major tokens just to get to King K. Rool. Yeah. And if you couldn't find those, you're stuck. Now, back then, we did not have the internet to look that up.
That's right, yeah. So
that's when these things are generally essential.
Yeah, well, old games like that, I mean, can you imagine having a strategy guide for, say, Mario 64 condition or Banjo-Kazooie in mint condition, that I don't see why you couldn't, if you wanted to, sell that back. Yeah. And say, look, this is probably worth about $50. Yeah. Because people, I guess, certain collectors would like to have that along with the game. So
definitely.
Yeah, I think that it's something I'm going to look at getting more into. There is times when I go to shops and I see strategy guides just reduced and clear on them like that. Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby guide I got for $4 the other day.
And
it's just
why not?
Yeah, and it was still in its plastic seal. Now I've already beaten it. I might not even open it, but it's still might as well $4.
Exactly.
Pocket change. So yeah, I think that there is some fun in it.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in animation and art, because I know in Japan they get visual design books and books that are related to how the game was actually made and look into all the animation before it was done and the character design stuff. We don't really get that.
No.
So for us, really, all we get is a strategy guide and you get a little bit of a taste of that and also some background knowledge on the game and the characters and stuff like that, which is cool.
And it's very cool.
Adds more to the game, I guess. It's sort of like an outside of the game DLC, but it's a physical thing. If that makes any sense.
It's like with games these days, pretty much buy the game, you open your case, and there's nothing to it. There's some writing on the inside of the label, or there might be a slip saying your warnings and stuff.
Yeah.
But personally, with games, even 4 years ago, just opening up and going through the manual, seeing the cover art, you're seeing what it's about, what happens in this level. That's something that I love, and that goes straight with the strategy guides as well.
And the funny thing is, when you watch videos on YouTube of people going out and buying games, sometimes they'll just buy the manual on their own.
Yeah.
And go oh yeah, $50 for this manual. Yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? That's a manual.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not even a game.
No.
It's similar to the strategy guide. If you've got that, it's a part of the game. It's it's an added feature. It's almost can be compared to, say, having a figurine of Link, having the game, Legend of Zelda, because it's something in that umbrella of the game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more. And also, they're sort of cheap. You can get them secondhand off eBay. $10 you can get it. Now, and depending on what you're playing, if you are actually stuck and you can't be bothered jumping back and forth on the internet, it'd be good to have a laptop there, but it is fun to flick through. Well, I enjoy doing it, flick through and put it on. There it is, that's what I do, sweet. Put it on the table.
So do I, and it takes you back to that nostalgic feeling again.
Yeah, for me, I don't have a great deal of time to play games, so sitting down and relaxing and playing a game and having the guides look through helps me work through the game quicker, but it also brings more enjoyment as well, because I'm not rushing and I just got to beat this to get it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't want to do that, because that's not the whole point of it. I know games are there to waste time, but when you actually get a thrill out of them, you want to actually enjoy it. You know what I'm saying.
I do.
Alright, so anyway, we've been talking personally lately about the Vita. Now, you don't own a PSP. No, but I got one on release. I got a second-hand one. It's another 3G model. It's just a Wi-Fi. There's all the talk about at the moment how they're losing support for games and people are dropping off and stuff like that. But what we're seeing now is the PS Vita games being ported to the PS4. Yep. So there's a notable difference in the graphics and the capability of the game, and they are a little bit cheaper. So you'll find a game, say a new release PS4 game in Australia, about $80, you'll find it for probably about $50, $50 $60.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if they're doing any extras to it. They probably are, but I'm not too sure. But I guess that's a way of saving their game, because they're going to make some money from it if they put it on the PS4, because it's got a wider audience for people to buy the games. Whereas a PS Vita game is very expensive to make, so that's why a lot of companies don't want to make games for it, because no one owns the Vita.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere, I might be way off on this number, but I read that it's only 10 million sales worldwide.
Okay. It's quite low.
Yeah, I think it might have actually been lower, but that's just off the top of my head.
And they've got two versions. They've got the new LED display, and then they had the OLED, which was the original one with the crisper image,
Yep.
And they dropped the price because the screen's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's it. Now, I love the console for bits. I've probably got 60 plus games from it. If I see a game for it, I might not got to get that. games. I just love playing it.
Yeah.
You watch YouTube on it, you watch Crunchyroll on it, you can go on Twitter, Internet, Facebook. You know, you can through photos, you can do so much stuff with it. It's really annoying that it didn't take off. It's sort of like how I felt with the PSP, but the PSP was massive overseas.
Yeah.
Although looking back on you, probably you had one. I know about 5 other friends who had one, but they weren't really into it. They just had it for the sake of having it.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to make the same mistake with the Vita.
And I was a late release to the PSP as well.
Yeah.
Like I bought it quite late. I think the PSP 3000, and that was a mistake on my behalf because it wasn't the best model. Like they improved the screen, but the features they went downhill.
Yeah, I think they took a lot of the features out of it.
Yeah.
I know on the PSP 2000 you can connect to the TV and play on the TV, which is awesome. But yeah, I know for the 3000 they took a lot of the features out, like the online store you can't access it.
Yeah.
Or it's the one. I don't know, it's one of them. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, so. But the PS Vita, that's my biggest worry, is they're going to eventually release an update to say, okay, no more online support, no more store, you know. That's a shame, because it's like, this is such a great system. Like, looking back, I bet you in time, people are going to look back and go, man, that was really good.
Yeah.
What a cool idea, what a shame. Like they did with the Wii U at the start, everyone was like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
You know, now it's this big thing, so...
Well,
yeah.
with the PS Vita, from what I'm aware of, like the PSP, they brought over their struggle games and they worked once they brought over onto the big consoles, like the difference with the PS3, now the PS4.
Yeah.
But with the Vita, even though it's tanking a little bit, how's it doing in Japan at the moment?
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in Japan it's selling the best.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's probably the biggest audience for it. Because you were there with me over Christmas and the library for it and the PSP, the library for the Vita was massive. Yeah. They had so many games, strategy, like RPGs, shooters, like if we got those kind of games here, you know, we'd have a field that we wouldn't ever get them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we get drip fed a few of the titles, but you know they have to be translated, they have to be published out. You know, it's a whole other thing, and it just doesn't happen, unfortunately. And unless you're going to learn Japanese, you can't really play it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, and Japanese is like the second hardest language you ever learn. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, we're sort of stuck with what we're going to be given.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as I was saying, I really enjoy it, and I think that if it got a bit more love, it's probably too late for it now.
Yep.
I don't think there's any coming back for it, but there are those who have one and really enjoy it, and there are those who don't have one but judge unfair.
Yep.
You know, so maybe you'll end up getting one down the track and then you realise this thing's awesome. But
I've thought about picking up one like real cheap as well.
Like $200, and you know the games like you can get the PlayStation membership, you get a couple of free games just like you do the PS4.
Yeah.
And look, you go to an EB or a GB now, and it's sort of hard to find where the games are for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's probably like a small little rack, or not even, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's something that's happened because of the audience of it. Yes. So yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, for your last couple of weeks, have you picked up anything that's really stuck out? PS3 titles, perhaps.
Yeah, I've bought a few PS3 titles.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name them all, but it's got Valkyrie Chronicles on the PS3.
Yeah.
That was, I believe, also on the PC as well, and a few other titles.
There's a sequel on the Vita. Sorry, the PSP.
It's actually too many to name. I can't even think of them.
Vanquish?
Yeah, I've got Vanquish, Dragon's Dogma, Enslaved, Yakuza 4, Starhawk, Dragon's Crown as well, but that's just to name a few.
Okay. Well, that's, something. PS3 games are becoming cheaper. It was sort of like when the PS2 dropped off, when the PS3 came out, the games went right down in price. Yep. So with the PSP and the Vita, and you can just go there and buy like 10 games for under $100.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, this is awesome. You know, think back 10 years ago, we would have been like, oh man, what games is the cream?
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing I was thinking about just before the show, I can discuss this with you, so it might catch you off guard. But I was thinking about it to myself, and I was just, looking at some of the games I own. It's also who determines what a rare game is? Is it the players?
Yeah.
Or is it the sellers?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Because obviously the government, they don't care. So, we get a statement from the Prime Minister saying, Mario 64 is now considered a rare game. Obviously, you can look back at games that had a limited release and say that's the rarer one because, people came out last on the Nintendo, so it's only a few, 100,000 copies are made.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but so it becomes rare. Whereas you got games like, you see Ocarina of Time. Everyone had Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time isn't rare.
No, it's
but
not
it still
rare.
commands between $50 and $100 sometimes.
Yeah.
What makes a game rare? Who determines it?
I would say it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Your players and your sellers as well.
Yeah.
Big time your sellers because, for a good example today, Pokemon has been a big issue. Price it's escalating to a ridiculous amount for your general Pokemon games that you can see all the time.
So blue, red.
Yeah,
yellow,
blue, red, or even
orange.
White 2, for example.
Oh, White 2.
Which was a later title on the DS.
Sequel to Black and White.
Yeah.
Black 2 and White 2.
Like, for example, I saw on one of our groups today, and I had to comment, because I thought this was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Someone was trying to sell a White 2 or a Black 2 for $60 when they clearly bought it for $45 and probably got it on a buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
And trying to make a profit. And that is what's wrong with why games go up in price. Stupid things like that.
Yeah, I guess you've got to think about this. Pokemon White 2, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Soul Silver, River Green, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Those games were mass produced to the point where Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in Game Boy.
Yeah.
There is millions of copies of those games.
Yeah.
Every single person who has any interest in games probably had a Pokemon game at some point in their life. Those games aren't rare.
No.
The rarer Game Boy game, the rarer Pokemon games are probably Crystal.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who has it. Maybe Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2 on 64.
Pokemon Stadium 2
ones
is
on
later.
Yeah, Pokemon Box on Channel Box or whatever it is. I don't know, those obscure sort of Pokemon titles. Like Ranger and those sorts of games. Not the main titles. Yeah, they're not rare. And for people, that annoys me too. And you get the argument where it's they're selling it, they can choose the price.
Yeah.
No, they can't choose the price.
No.
We need to, the audience of these, the buyers and the sellers, we need to monitor this because it's just going to get out of hand. You're going to see, someone putting up, I don't know, the Sims, a Sims expansion and going, oh yeah, Sims, pets or something. Yeah, $250, mint condition, CD keys being used.
Yeah.
It's just going to become ridiculous. People want to make money.
Yeah.
It's a basic instinct of most. They want to make some money. They have to live, basically. So, but people are going to, if they come out and say ridiculous prices for games, they should be shunned. And they're like, what are you talking about, man? That game's not, whatever you said, $60.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just sell it. If you don't want it, sell it for a reasonable price.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just, some people are just silly like that, and they just think that they can just get rid of it. For them, someone might go, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. Which they probably don't know. Someone might be just looking for it, and they're sick of looking for it. So they're like, I'll pay $60. But I don't buy lunch tomorrow, and that work out and make some agreement with themselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I'm a fan of saying, hey, man, that's too much.
Yeah.
Don't sell it for that much. Or like the other day, the garage sale when your business was trying to buy the game, and I was like, well, it's $10 at JB.
Yeah.
And I was like, alright, give me $10.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not going to pay $20 for it, which you get it down the road for $10.
Yeah, exactly.
Pokemon White 2, I mean, what was it, an expansion? It was the exact same game, but
but it was a bit of a different story, really.
Yeah, so
Had the same sort of concept. but different
$60,
story, yeah.
like you can almost buy, it's almost like buying a new game. Why would you bother?
I don't know. I see. That's when your instance is when players make the price, but then sellers make the price. But then there's times where Super Luigi U, they brought that title out. They already had Super Mario Brothers U. Then came the year of the Luigi.
Yeah.
You saw Luigi's Mansion 2. You saw that game as well, and it was a promotion game.
Yeah.
Very limited release.
Yeah.
That now becomes rare because there was only a few titles. You don't make a mainstream game more expensive than it has to be.
Well, that's it, and they're well within their rights to sell that for $100. If anyone asked for more than 100, I'd be raising eyebrows.
Yeah.
I'd pay $80 for that.
Yeah.
If I had to, but I'm not rushing out to get it at this stage. I'm still hoping that one day I'll walk into like a Bunnings and I'll be sitting there on the floor. But
Maybe not Bunnies, but
yeah. But you can't do that for certain games. Now I can understand, excuse me, going on an online sale website and being like, oh yeah, a boxed copy, like anything with a cardboard box, Super Nintendo NES 64, anything with a box in good condition is considered rare because our way of treating our games was to just throw that stuff in, not to care. We're kids, we want to get home, rip it open, put it in and play it. We're not going to worry about a cardboard box as long as the game is. Yeah. So, to have a box, Conker's Bad Fur Day, that's a rare game.
Yeah.
So that's me, that's where you put the money down. You wouldn't put down the money for, like you're saying, Pokemon White 2, where it's like, anyone with half a brain would know, go onto eBay, Pokemon DS isn't region locked.
No.
Get a copy from America for $12, or look around and get a copy from Australia for $20. I could maybe save $30 for that. Maybe. But that'd be, I wouldn't pay it.
No way.
I mean, I got it on release when it came out, so I can't talk. But
that's different.
That was when it came out. Yeah.
This is a pre-owned copy too.
Yeah. It's not Soul Silver. No, you know what I mean? Soul Silver in the big box, remember that? Pokemon thing. So
see, that is a limited release. Yeah. You don't see that anymore. It's complete with everything.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a head scratcher. So I guess people need to start calling it out. It's just getting to the point where it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that'll do us for this week, but feel free to subscribe, and if you like what we're doing, make sure you encourage us and leave a comment for us, and any questions in the comments or Twitter or anything like that, and we'll try to get around to them. Stay tuned for more videos on this page, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks.